What's the upside, my dear old fans of Lego Soul Brick in the house, and I'm standing here in my custom Lego city called City City. A city built on just one base plate, and it's gonna reach to the ceiling. Now there's been some recent kind of troubling development in the neighboring city-state of Soltown, the feminist police state. They've started with science, and the Minister of Science over there has acquired the technology to create their first own nuclear bomb. Yes, they have an atomic bomb. This is of course very troubling for City, but there are counter efforts that we can make. We're gonna invest in magic. They got the atomic bomb and the science nonsense, but we're gonna hire a wizard, and the wizard needs some place to live, and that's gonna be behind the diamond store. So if we turn this around, flip it over, you can see that I have these holes here, and that's where I'm going to start attaching the wizard tower. So it's going to be like a classic kind of medieval fantasy styled castle where he's going to have his office and whatnot, so the wizard can work on creating spells and that kind of nonsense to stop the threat of the nuclear bomb. Well, I'll be darned. I just think you should subscribe to Soulbrick's channel and please smack a like. A wizard's office or tower is usually round, so I've been looking at these kind of newer parts. It looks like the letter A or some sort of funky V upside down. If you create it like this, or you put them together, you get a sort of a circle, and then you can use these hinged pieces to attach them together so that they hold up pretty nicely. Now a problem here is that I don't want to have a gap in the wall, so if I have this, you can see that it won't go all the way, so that's a bit of a problem. So the closest I can go without having a gap is actually here. So this is how it's going to turn out. So you have 4 studs and then 2 studs and then 4 studs and then 2 studs. So there's a lot of space over on the outside here, but I mean, we'll have to work with this. I really wanted this to be in light gray, but as you probably can see here, I'm starting to run out of gray bricks. I mostly have just 1x4s left, so that's a bit of a problem. I think I will use tan bricks instead, but I don't really have a lot of them either, because I was working on that Mos Eisley Tatooine mock that I have in my living room currently, actually. So we'll see what kind of colors I can use, and I'm trying to mix up the facade a bit so that I can use maybe some dark gray and black or something just to show some weathering, maybe some browns. However, for the bottom part I can use some gray, and I'm using those hinged parts, and if we take a second layer of hinged parts and just rotate them a bit so you have them over here, this becomes a bit more stable as a base and won't like open up like this. Well, I guess that I have to put in some reinforcement here with these plate versions of the hinges just to keep it stable underneath as well. Unfortunately, the math doesn't really hold up here when you create the circle, so if you would like to make this even more stable, create a floor here. This doesn't really line up with the studs there, so that's why I put in these tiles instead. And then I'm just going to have a little plate that's going to be resting on those to close that off a bit. And on this side is where the door is going to go in. We're going for a barred door just because that looks medieval. They like to put people in prisons back then, I guess. And a nice little window there with some flowers in front. And here are some hinged parts as well, just so that I can open to this little area. This is basically just a little lobby room. And 2 by here. Mixing it up with some profile bricks in different colors just to get that weathered feel. And on this side is where we're gonna have like a little panel, a console, where you can just dial them and say, we're here now, we want to have some magic going on, as you tend to do. And well, I have those Technic pins there, and on this side as well, that's gonna connect to the black building. And there's some decoration. I'm gonna use this Nexonite shield part here. Looks a bit like something a wizard would have. Close it off. And up here we're gonna use these slopes with some she slopes and put like so, like an overhang, so when it rains you don't get too wet. And this is the closing little ring that's gonna be up here. With some more of those hinged parts to create that nice circle. It's really important to build upside down sometimes when you want to make studs attach and clutch. That's my tip today. All right, looks pretty dope. Now, as I mentioned before, this isn't really lining up, so I can't have the second level attached to this, and that's why there's tiles here instead. So it will actually be a bit of a trickery for your eyes, or in the build, where it will be two segments. Now, when I made this originally, I put in maybe too many holes. I will only need this segment here. So, but I'm gonna keep this in for now and then maybe change it later when I can be bothered. Let's put this in here so it's nice and flush. And I really like how this pokes out here. It looks both medieval but also a bit cyberpunk, or maybe even steampunk. You can open this and have a little look in there. On this side I'm gonna put in the little walk path, the little bridge, and I'm gonna use that A kind of piece and just connect it like so, and put this little rounded part underneath to hold this together. And a good thing here with having this just resting on the tiles is that it's easy to remove, and also it doesn't really line up with the studs on this side, but it lines up next to this wall, so that's pretty dope. Some of you viewers have expressed concerns about the safety of these bridges we have in City. So I just wanted to say that we've been listening to you, and we're gonna put in a little safety rail here with a spider there for extra protection against evil forces. The base for the second floor, put some slopes upside down there. So this will rest nicely upon that first floor, and we have those technical pins there, or Technic pins, that will attach to the black building. Let's put in some walls. This will be the back wall, and that's gonna go like so, perfectly lined up there. This is where we're gonna have a map over Soltown, so that they know where they can strike their magic and their voodoo and their evil spells. And you can see that there's even a lighthouse there, which we do have in Soltown, so I guess this map is pretty correct. And the other wall I pre-assembled a bit, and here is where we're gonna have our blue crystal meth, so that they really can get into the mood of magic. And we have the dark blue crystal meth and the light one. And it's hard to focus when you're talking about crystal meth, I guess, but they're really nice looking. Crystals are important for magic. Something else that's important for magic is to have a crystal ball where you can tell fortunes. So that's gonna go in here. Looks like a nice rounded table now. And the third wall has the ingredients on the side there. We have a funky sock, stinky one, some pouches with some bones and stuff, and some angel dust. So that's gonna go in here. I really like this wooden profiled parts here. Makes it look nice and cozy, almost like some sort of a British pub or Irish pub or something. Now I know one of you I think it was Slot Bricks, who said that this looks a bit like a Pizza Hut when I showed a build of this on Instagram. And I guess he's right. I only know about Pizza Hut from the American movies, but I've understood that it's the top cuisine of American food. So here's the final wall. Of course, we're going to put in some stuff on these snot pieces, but first we're going to put in his stuff from the Nixonite theme. A theme that didn't perform so well, I guess, because it's not around anymore, but it had some cool parts. And here's a little screen with a wizard that this wizard in City City is having a Zoom meeting with, or maybe it's Microsoft Teams or, you know, whatever. It's not sponsored. And here are some more ingredients, some garlic. It's gonna go behind the crystal meth. And here we have some spells. Put that in here. Well, actually, I don't know if this is a spell. It just says something weird. Let's read this for you. You are far more powerful than you would ever imagine. Yeah, that's bullshit. So put that in here. And a little screen here for some more FaceTime Zoom gatherings with another wizard, kind of like a hologram almost. We of course need a very important goblet for your coffee. And as you can see, I put in a little ventilation unit there. And underneath the ingredients, we're gonna have a drawer that I put some different sorts of snot pieces, those old classic headlight pieces, and these that are further out, so it just looks like this drawer has been pulled out a bit. Create some nice shaping there. It goes underneath there, and let's put that back together. And on this side, we're gonna have a little bookshelf in black and with those stickers from a Harry Potter set, and some spiders in a book up here. Pretty cool. So this is starting to look really cozy. On the top here, we're gonna tile that off for the roof segment. And this will go like this. Breed, breed, breed. And on the clips here, that's where we're gonna put our wizard staffs. So that's gonna go in there. And if you've seen previous videos, oh boy, if you've seen previous videos about the wizard staffs, you know that they're really full of magic and pleasure. Especially if you've seen my XXX shop video. You could go back and watch that if you'd like. And that will be put there. So that's pretty much all the furniture. Let's look at the minifigs. We have our head wizard here, based on a Dumbledore minifig, but I used yellow parts instead. And a nice cape here. He can be standing over here, looking at that crystal ball. I love me some crystal balls. Here's his assistant. Also a Dumbledore fig that I switched to yellow parts. Something, I don't know, something weird about this guy. Probably not a problem. Something weird though. Let's put this in place. It's almost like watching that SpaceX capsule docking to the International Space Station. Ooh la la. And if you didn't know that this was in 2 segments, you wouldn't know that it was in 2 segments. The roof is like a pyramid basically. I used those parts from the old classic A-Wing from Star Wars. You can see a Technic part there, and that's where I'm just gonna fake it a bit and put in this telescope here so that they can spy on Soltown. Let's put that in here. Voila. And to be honest with you guys, I think this looks rather... It's kind of hard to get this down there, but it's not a big problem. If we turn this around, I mean, it looks really cool. And I hope this won't fall over, because then I would probably quit making these videos. Some handheld action for you guys, as always. Looking mighty fine. Look at that, that's pretty dope. Ooh la la. And you can post figs here if you would like to. And with that said, make sure to stay out of the nonsense, stay awesome, and please subscribe.